All right. So I am sitting here with my amazing daughter, Abigail, who just finished recently post production and entering her film Designing Lies into the Christian Youth Film Festival. And she said, I could make the behind the scenes video. So I thought, why not have fun and do it right? So I wanted to ask you some questions there, Miss Abigail.
Camera rolling. Sound. Speeding.
Scene 3, shot 1, take 3.
Action. Hey, honey, how's school?
I didn't get my report finished on time, but
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
Camera rolling. Sound.
Speeding.
Scene 10, take 8. You call action when you think the wind is good.
Action.
So we're trying to fill a position that involves a lot of computer work. Do you think you might be interested?
Well, would you happen to have anything that involves working with horses?
Cut.
So we're trying to fill a position that involves a lot of computer work. Do you think you might be interested?
Well, would you happen to have anything that involves working with horses?
Sound.
Speeding.
Scene 2, shot 1, take 3.
Action.
So, Miss I don't know why I was about to say Lavender.
Camera. Rolling. Sound.
Speeding.
Scene 2, shot 1, take 7. And do we wait for this car? Rolling. Sound.
Speeding.
This is scene 2, shot 1, take 9.
Action.
So, So Mrs. Brown wanted us to put in pictures and graphs and stuff like that, right? And I can't figure out how to get these in the document. So I'm just sitting there frustrated out of my mind, typing away, and next thing you know, I've managed to delete it.
All right, try that again, Abigail. Let's do it again, Abigail. What was that?
Oh, Macy, thou must be the most technologically challenged person I've ever known.
What were some of the challenges that you faced?
Oh, a lot of it was time. I knew I wanted to enter a film into the festival, but it took me a long time to come up with an idea that I was happy with, that I felt was reasonable with what was around me. Another challenge is I don't know a lot of kids my age, and because of that, the crew needs to primarily be kids from the age range. And so that was difficult for me to find people that could help, where schedules would be able to mesh. And so those are probably the two biggest issues and challenges that I faced.
Tell me about that handheld stabilizer, the gimbal that you were using. Where did you get that?
I used the gimbal electronic stabilizer for multiple of the scenes, for some of the shots. I bought that with some prize money that I earned from Divine Detour, which I entered into the Christian Youth Film Society Good Video Contest it was either May or June of 2020. And so I used some of that money, put it toward buying that, and it has made a world of difference in some of the films that we've made since then.
So going back to some of the difficulties, the handheld stabilizer she bought makes available this camera movement, but you have to really practice with it. It's something you don't just pick up and do. And so when Abigail was shot listing, which means taking her script and then coming up with the list of shots, the angles, the number of shots, and whether there's static, stationary shots off a tripod like this camera is right now filming us, or whether they have camera movement, she had a special consideration because she also needed to act in part of it. So how did you do that?
Basically, for the scenes that I acted in, I did primarily tripod shots, just static shots, and they required little to no movement. If anything, it was a simple tilt or pan that would give some sense of movement to the scene, but primarily I had to shot list in a way that I'd be able to act, and we would only have the static tripod shots.
And I think it worked well.
Another challenge was dealing with a lot of sound during many of the days in Lockwood. We would have planes flying over, or we would have gunfire or something from Liggett practicing, or at the day at the Walters, there were so many cars because we were somewhat close to the road, and so had to work around that. And
Dogs
then barking, trash trucks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sound was another big issue.
Yeah, it's something when we studied for her class, when you're not doing it in a studio and you're outside, there's so many variables that you might not think about, and you got your whole day planned, and there it goes. So I was blown away watching you do that drone shot of the bus that Brandy was driving. And she told us what time she would pass, and then what we had Mom down the road with the radio who would let us know when the bus was coming so you could get the drone launched and ready. But then you just backed that drone up and followed it and did an amazing shot. How hard was that for you? Because you only had one crack at it.
Yeah, thankfully before the bus came by, we got there a little bit early, and so I was able to practice that drone move first, just one time, We didn't want to use up a lot of the drone battery, but I was able to practice it one time, and so that helped. But otherwise, I just tried to make my movements steady without jerks. Tried to stay calm, and because it was you only got one shot on that, unless you're going back another day. On its way over the hill.
Okay, so Mrs. Brown wanted us to put in graphs and pictures and stuff like that, right?
Our camera is rolling, and here we go. Let's hope we don't crash the drone. Rolling. This is typing on the computer, montage scene, take 3. Okay. Action. Camera is rolling. This is a montage shot in the living room. Take 1. Action. All right, back to the beginning. Okay, well actually not the beginning, but camera rolling. Sound.
Speeding.
This is scene 6, shot 3, take 3. Action.
What did I just do?
Cut. Action.
What did I just do?
Action.
What did I just do?
What was your favorite scene?
That's sort of hard because, you know, I love the whole film. But cinematically, I'd probably have to say the interview scene. I love the clarity in the pictures, the colors, and just how that came out. But as far as story-wise, that's hard because they're all so good. But one of my favorites would probably be when Macy deletes the advertisement. I think that Penny did a great job in that scene. It's important to the film, and so I'd probably have to go with that one.
Okay. And then in that scene, when I called, you did something to underscore the importance of that. She had a choice at that moment, whether to come clean or to go deeper into this pit. And you did something in post-production to kind of underscore that. What was that?
I used what they call an atmospheric sound. So it's just sort of a short underlying sound. For this one I used a dark, ominous tone that's very quiet, so some people might not even consciously pick it up, but subconsciously they're realizing that there's something very bad happening right now. And so that's a way that I could signal to the audience that something bad was happening here and that she was not making a good choice.
Atmospheric sounds are different than music. There's, like Abigail said, there's short sounds. And when I was looking at your layers of editing, you actually layered the same atmospheric sound. You started one staggered right after the other to give it some more depth. And is that correct?
Yep, to give it some more depth, to also allow it to run a little bit longer so that it would fill the amount of time that I wanted it to, start where I wanted, end where I wanted.
Because I had a family emergency.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope everything's okay.
Oh yeah, everything's fine.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. I will need that ad done as soon as possible.
Because I had a family emergency.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope everything's okay.
Oh yeah, everything's fine.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. I will need that ad done as soon as possible. So here we are behind the scenes of a great film that hasn't gotten a name yet, with lead actress Penny Riley. So Penny, tell us what's going on in this film and what are you doing?
I'm being a brat.
You're being a brat?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm a bad friend, and we love that.
So Lachlan, what do you think of this side of Penny?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
She keeps making bad insults to
This
me.
is the real me, Lachlan.
This is me.
Are you making good life decisions?
I mean, depends on who you ask.
I'm asking Macy.
Yes.
Ooh, look at that look.
If you ask anybody else, no.
Camera rolling. Sound.
Speeding.
Scene 5, shot 2, take 3, longer rack for, well, deeper, shallower depth of focus, whatever, never mind.
Good job.
What'd you just drop, Lachlan?
The recording thing. It's
Dang it.
The recording thing?
You have one job, sir.
The picker-upper.
The picker-upper?
The audio picker-upper.
This is wild take of Penny taking a deep breath. Take 1. Action. Okay.
I think he wants you to feed him, Eric.
Oh, we feel so good. Oh, double, oh, oh, triple, woo, woo, woo.
So what are you going to do about money for college?
Something. No.
What are you going to do about money for college?
Rob a bank.
What are you going to do about money for college?
Sell pretzels.
So what are you going to do about money for college?
Become a mime.
Could enter a pie eating contest. Right?
Find your lollipop stash and sell them.
What are you going to do about money for college?
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to find another job, and this time I'll be honest.
Good for you. What is up with that lollipop? I know you're all asking because I don't use lollipops. Why did we decide to put a lollipop in my hand?
Well, basically, when you act, you tend to sort of have a natural face of a frown.
And I'm a happy person.
And we didn't want his character to seem like he was always unhappy with Macy or something like that. And so we were trying to come up with some character trait that would give him something to do, and that's where the idea of the lollipop was born, where it would be something that he could sort of be second on his lollipop and give him something to interact with in the scene, and it also gives a little bit of a neat character quirk to him. Camera is rolling. Sound.
Speeding.
This is scene 4, shot 1, take 2. Action.
Well, it certainly appears that you have a lot of experience with horses. So, a lot of times when director calls, it's a wrap, and the final film is done, filming is done. For many people, they go home, and for others, the job just begins. The whole post-production, that's production. The whole post-production begins. The editing and sound, musical score, all of that. And in this case, all the post-production also falls on Abigail. Tell us a little bit about your procedure. Just what do? You you get home, everything's filmed. You're holding the SD card in your hand.
Basically, when we get home from a day of filming, is we immediately put the footage onto Dad's computer, back it up so that we know we have multiple copies of it, because that would not be good if you lose an entire day of filming. And so we would do that, and then in the situation with this film, because I had a very short window of time, I was already sometimes taking what we had filmed one day and I would already edit it before we would do another day of filming. And so the way that I work, I like to get first a whole rough draft of the scenes done. And then I go through and sort of fine tune that. Then I might start adding in my wild takes, sound effects, music. I might color grade it, sort of adjusting that and fine tuning it.
Before that, what do you do with the sound? Because the sound you record in the camera is not the sound that makes it to the screen. What do you do before you even do the other stuff?
When I first bring my video and audio clips into the editing program, I need to sync them. So we record audio that's separate from the camera, and we will, at some point during the scene, at the beginning or the end, we'll use the clapboard or our hands to do a clap, and that creates a spike in the audio tracks on the camera and on the Zoom recorder, our audio recorder. And then when we bring those two into the editing program, we look for those spikes on the audio track and line them up so that we're able to sync the audio from our separate recorder to the video from the camera. And so you got to be careful with that, because otherwise you don't want to lag in your audio where it's off a little bit. And so that in itself takes time before you even start editing.
Then you delete the sound off the camera.
Yep.
And leave the sound off the Zoom recorder in.
Yep.
And if you've ever seen a film where the lips and the sound are not aligned, that's what she's talking about. So go on. You start getting into your editing. What kind of things might you do to a clip?
For certain clips, simple color grading, just fine tuning the lighting or the colors, adding in any wild takes like footsteps or a refrigerator door closing.
Explain what a wild take is, because sometimes you'll see her or one of her sound crew running around with a microphone at someone's feet, or someone closing a door next to a microphone. What is a wild take?
Basically, a wild take is sort of like a sound effect or Foley, except wild takes are done on set. So you have someone that's walking on gravel, and so then while you're on set, you would record a separate audio track of that person walking on the gravel, and that way you could do sound effects, but sometimes it's just easier and simpler to record it yourself.
Now, didn't you use wild takes in the montage when Penny was studying her books and everything and closing laptops? Didn't you use some wild takes there?
Yep, so in the three things that slam, where the book slams and the laptop where the book slams and then the laptop lid is shut and then the book goes on the table, all three of those sounds were three separate sounds recorded on set of the book closing and etc.
The scenes in the barn, you use wild takes of feet walking on hay, feet on gravel. What,
Yep.
Did you get some of the horses?
Yes, in some sense. We also, in a film, use ambient sound. Now, ambient sound is just the natural sound around you. So, if you're inside in a
Minus
kitchen...
the jets.
Yeah. So, if you're in a kitchen, it might be that natural sound of the refrigerator and things like that. If you're outside, it would be the natural sounds of the birds. And so, in the ambient at the Walters barn at that location, that ambient included the sounds of the horses, of them moving around, eating their hay, things like that, that just gave more life to the scene, made it feel more realistic. And so those ambient tracks you run under your whole scene, and that way it covers up any cuts you have or any times that the audio drops to complete silence. And so that's a way of, one, making the scene feel real, and two, of covering up all those little imperfections.
And when she talks about color grading, all of that, I'm going to put in a few examples of some clips before and after, and just so you kind of will see that.
So sort of my final stage of editing is after I export my rough draft of the whole film, is I'll watch it a couple times and sort of pick out each scene and look for any little things that I can improve, whether it's improving a little bit on the coloring or making the scene a little bit lighter. Just little things like that I think can improve my film, and then I go back and enter all those changes to make it the best that I can. I'm sure that there's a lot more things in that I could change, that I could make a little bit better, but with the time, with what I had, I think that it's pretty good.
The film festivals, the requirement is how long including credits?
It needs to be 11 minutes including credits, and my film was, I think, 10 minutes 59 seconds.
If not 11 exactly.
Yep.
It's becoming your trademark. Why do you letterbox? What I'm talking about is, why does she put in the black bar above and below the picture that you see in her designing lies?
Basically, when television first came out, is they were in more like a square aspect ratio. And so movie theaters, though, would have longer, wider screens that would actually show the full picture. And so when you would then get the film and watch it on your TV at home, it would say, this film has been formatted to fit this screen. And so you would actually end up having the edges of your film cut off. Some people didn't like that. They wanted to see exactly how it was. So options came out for widescreen, where they would just put a black bar at the top and at the bottom so that you could see the full screen. So the reason that we purposefully put those black bars on the top and the bottom is it subconsciously sort of gives a feel of a more quality, higher end film. And so it's another little subconscious way of things that we learned that can make our films a little bit better.
What blessed you the most in the whole process of this film?
It really touched me how people came through for me. Is first in the Richies, just opening up their home to me, saying, do whatever you need to, put the cameras wherever you need to, just make yourself at home. They were a huge blessing in that.
Taking pictures off the walls, putting other
Yep.
things up.
And so it was just how they came through, how the Walters gave us that amazing opportunity to film at that authentic location of the barn and the ranch. Just the crew and the actors who did come through for me, as it really touched me to see how these people came through, how they were willing to help, how they gave up their own time to be able to help me on this film.
Yeah, it was special. So, what is your hope for this film?
I hope that it honors God. I hope that it goes out through the film festival and through when we put it on our YouTube page, and that it'll touch people, turn them toward God, that it'll teach people a good lesson about telling the truth, having godly friends in your life. And so I hope that above all is it will honor God and point people to Him.
I'm very impressed. You did a good job, and I know you guys will probably have already seen it if you're seeing behind the scenes, but I know it will bless you, and a lot of work went into it when you see the pictures of the layers of audio, the laying down the different sounds and layer upon layer. It's pretty amazing to actually see. So I hope this has blessed you, given you an insight into kind of what goes behind what you saw. For every minute of her 11-minute film, my guess is dozens and dozens of hours have been spent between the post-production, the production, the acting, the script writing, the rehearsing, and all of that. So enjoy. Thank you. Well done.
Go ahead.
The words we've all been waiting for. It's a wrap!
Woohoo!